At some point, you looked up and realized that you had been living your life for everyone else. Making decisions based on what they would think. Measuring your progress against what they had achieved. Shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never built for you. Expanding your energy outward, into other people's opinions, other people's timelines, other people's definitions of success, while your own life quietly waited. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you lost the thread of yourself. Today this video is a permission slip. Not a selfish one. Not a permission to be careless with the people you love. But a deep, grounded, psychologically honest permission to do something most people never fully do. To focus, completely, unapologetically, and with full intention, on yourself. It didn't happen all at once. It happened gradually, through thousands of small moments of learning that your attention belonged outward rather than inward. You learned early that being liked required monitoring what others thought of you. That being loved sometimes meant suppressing what you needed. That being safe often meant making yourself smaller, quieter, less demanding. And so you developed what psychologists call an external locus of control, the habit of measuring your worth, your progress, and your direction by what exists outside you. Other people's opinions. Social comparisons. External markers of success that were never truly yours to begin with. The cost of this habit is enormous, and almost invisible, because it happens so slowly. You stop trusting your own judgment because you've outsourced it for so long. You stop knowing what you actually want because you've been tracking what others want from you. You stop moving toward your own life because you've been measuring yourself against someone else's. Focusing on yourself is not a personality trait. It is a skill. One that was trained out of many people very early, and one that can be consciously rebuilt. Let's be precise about this, because the phrase, focus on yourself, is often misunderstood. It does not mean becoming indifferent to others. It does not mean withdrawing from relationships or abandoning responsibilities. It does not mean a performance of self-obsession dressed up as self-improvement. What it means, in the deepest psychological sense, is this: making yourself the primary author of your own life. It means that your decisions are driven by your values, your vision, your genuine assessment of what matters, not by the fear of what others will think if you choose differently. It means that your energy is directed first toward what you are building, rather than dispersed across monitoring, managing, and performing for an audience. It means that your measure of progress is internal, grounded in your own growth, your own standards, your own honest assessment of who you are becoming, rather than in comparison with people whose circumstances, starting points, and definitions of success are entirely different from yours. This is not selfishness. This is the foundation of any life that is actually yours. Nothing drains the focus from your own life faster than comparison. And we live in an era that has made comparison not just possible but constant, a continuous, involuntary audit of how your life measures against everyone else's visible highlight reel. The psychological damage of chronic comparison is not subtle. It distorts your perception of your own progress by measuring it against a curated fiction. It generates a perpetual sense of inadequacy that no achievement can resolve, because there will always be someone further along, more successful, more polished, more arrived. But here is what chronic comparison actually does at the deepest level: it pulls your attention away from the only race that matters. Your own. The person you are comparing yourself to is not running your race. They do not have your starting conditions, your history, your specific combination of strengths and wounds and resources. Their path is not your path. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their definition of success may have nothing to do with what would actually constitute a meaningful life for you. Every moment spent measuring your life against theirs is a moment stolen from building your own. The most successful people, not in the narrow sense of visible achievement, but in the deeper sense of people who are genuinely living their own lives, share one characteristic above all others: they are almost completely uninterested in what others are doing. Not because they are arrogant. Because they are focused. Because they understand that attention is finite, and that every unit of it directed outward is one less unit available for the work that only they can do. One of the most liberating realizations available to any human being is this: what other people think of you is not your responsibility to manage. You cannot control it. You cannot fully predict it. You cannot earn your way to universal approval no matter how carefully you perform, how skillfully you manage your image, how thoroughly you try to make yourself acceptable to every possible audience. And the attempt to do so, the ongoing project of monitoring and managing other people's perception of you, is one of the most exhausting and most futile investments a human being can make. Other people's opinions of you are formed by their own psychology, their own wounds, their own projections, their own history. When someone approves of you, they are approving of the version of you that fits their worldview. When someone criticizes you, they are often criticizing something in themselves that they see reflected in you. This is not to say that all feedback is meaningless. Honest, considered feedback from people who know you well and want good things for you is valuable. But the ambient noise of social judgment, the imagined audience whose approval you have been silently seeking, that is not a reliable guide to your life. Your life cannot be built on the shifting and contradictory opinions of people who are, themselves, too preoccupied with their own lives to think about yours as much as you imagine they do. Think about how much of your mental and emotional energy currently goes to concerns that have nothing to do with your own life. Replaying conversations. Worrying about how you came across. Monitoring social dynamics. Tracking what others are achieving. Managing relationships that drain rather than restore. Performing for audiences that will never be fully satisfied. Now imagine redirecting even a fraction of that energy inward. Toward your own work. Your own growth. Your own relationships, the ones that genuinely matter. Your own body, your own health, your own creative life. The compound effect of that redirection over months and years is not incremental. It is transformational. Because the person who stops dispersing their energy across 1,000 external concerns and begins concentrating it on a small number of things that are genuinely theirs, that person begins to move. With a clarity and a momentum that is not available to someone who is still trying to live in all directions at once. Focus is not a productivity technique. It is a form of profound self-respect. It is the act of saying, my life is worth the full weight of my attention. This does not happen automatically. The habits of external focus, the comparison, the approval seeking, the dispersal of energy into other people's lives, deeply ingrained. They were learned over years and they will not be unlearned in an afternoon. But they can be unlearned. Deliberately. Through practice. The first practice is ruthless clarity about what actually matters to you. Not what should matter. Not what matters to people you respect or fear or admire. What matters to you, in your honest, private, unperformed self. This requires a quality of self-honesty that most people avoid because it comes with responsibility. Once you know what you truly want, you can no longer pretend you don't. The second practice is protecting your attention as if it were your most valuable resource, because it is. Every notification, every social comparison, every detour into someone else's life is a withdrawal from the account you need to build your own. Guard it accordingly. The third practice is measuring progress against your past self, not other people. The only meaningful comparison is between who you were and who you are becoming. That is the only race with a finish line that has anything to do with you. And the fourth practice, perhaps the most important, is tolerating the discomfort of being misunderstood. When you stop performing for the audience and start living for yourself, some people will not understand. Some will be unsettled. Some will mistake your focus for arrogance, your boundaries for coldness, your self-direction for selfishness. Let them. Their discomfort with your self-possession is information about them, not a verdict about you. The life you want does not exist somewhere out there, waiting to be approved by enough people before it becomes real. It exists in the direction of your own deepest attention. In the choices you make when you stop performing and start building. In the version of yourself that emerges when you finally stop asking whether everyone else is comfortable with who you are becoming. That version has been waiting. Not impatiently. Just quietly. For you to turn your attention all the way inward and say, this is my life. And I am going to live it fully. Like this video if it gave you permission to refocus. Leave a comment with what you are choosing to put your attention on. And subscribe, because this channel is built for people who are serious about understanding themselves. I'll see you in the next one.